Hi, my name's Judith Hegenbarth and I'm a member of the Research Skills team in the library here at the University of Birmingham. The university supports open research practices, and we hope this video will help you to identify what you can do yourself in this arena. The first step is to define what open research is as a concept and what kind of practices are referred to under that umbrella. UNESCO defines open research as a set of principles and practices that aim to make scientific research from all fields accessible to everyone for the benefits of scientists and society as a whole. It's about making sure not only that scientific knowledge is accessible, but also that the production of that knowledge itself is inclusive, equitable, and sustainable. A word on the semantics of the terminology. In European terms, open science is used to describe open research in any discipline, using Latin word scientia to mean knowledge and to imply understanding, or a body of knowledge or a skill. In the UK, open research is used in recognition that science is primarily used to refer to the physical and life sciences. The key benefit of undertaking research openly is integrity. If processes are documented and shared, they can be reproduced using the same methods. Open research has the potential to help to overcome the so-called reproducibility crisis in some areas of science. Documenting and sharing processes might also improve efficiencies and accelerate progress. We know that the public indirectly fund much research through taxation, and there is an argument that the resulting processes of research and its outputs should be made available for the public good. In terms of innovation, it's suggested that a better return on investment might be made if, for example, someone can reuse an existing data set in a different way without need for such expensive data collection activity. For you as a researcher, making your work more discoverable may lead to your work becoming cited and more influential. The final benefit we've added here in grey is compliance. It's something that is necessary to meet in many instances, and funding councils are often making open part of their conditions of funding. We hope this won't be seen as the only and major driver for much longer. When we talk about open research, it covers a range of interrelated activities. Here are some of the key elements. Open access is probably the most well-known element. It has been adopted quite widely already, undoubtedly helped by rules around the Research Excellence Framework, which require a majority of outputs returned for the REF to be published in an openly accessible format without paywalls. Open access is often seen as applying to journal articles. Open access books currently present a more complex issue. In January 2025, the university adopted a rights retention strategy. The Code of Practice for Research was amended to make it explicit that the university assigns copyright in a subset of research outputs, referred to as scholarly works, to their authors. In return, authors grant the university a non-exclusive license to reuse those works. This allows authors to deposit their author-accepted manuscripts onto the institutional repository, making them openly accessible. Open data is another way for researchers to share, as far as appropriate, the underlying data that informs their publication. I'll say more about this in a moment. Open source code and software relates to the scripts or software used to process data or carry out a particular method. By sharing these on platforms such as GitHub, others can use and repurpose existing code and share their new version. ORCID is the Open Researcher and Contributor ID, which is a permanent identifier, like an ISBN for an author, to ensure that researchers aren't confused for authors with similar names. ORCID is interoperable, so that publication systems and others can use the same identifier for an author across the ecosystem. Open lab notebooks and processes allow researchers to document their methods, their successes and their failures, to enable the community to learn from them. Preprints allow researchers to post early forms of their papers before peer review and publication to get some early indication of reaction to their work from colleagues in their discipline. Preprint servers allow full drafts of research papers to be shared publicly before peer review. Most journals now permit preprints, so it's worth checking the guidelines on the website of the journal that you ultimately intend to submit to. Traditionally, journals haven't been keen to publish negative results, as positive narratives garner more citations. An emphasis on journal impact factor compounded this, and open research looks to move away from some of these perverse incentives. As I mentioned earlier, open research aims to make the reproduction of results easier, thereby allowing integrity to be demonstrated. The concept of transparency engendered by making data, processes, and code open could improve the understanding of those seeking to take the field further. Research culture is a difficult, nebulous concept, but it's the way in which some of the tenets of open research are passed on within a discipline and within an institution. Some of this will undoubtedly be connected with incentives around recruitment, progression, and careers. Greater transparency in the peer review process aims to make the process of review more transparent so that it becomes easier to find errors and confirm findings so that trust in publications is increased. Citizen science, harnessing the power of the people to undertake data collection or interpret data which isn't currently machine readable, is seen to involve the public in academic research and to make it more inviting and interesting to a lay audience. Open education resources is the practice of encouraging those who teach, particularly in research-informed teaching, to share their learning objects for the benefit of students and, in turn, to increase the accessibility of the discipline to undergraduates, potentially new researchers. Sharing data as far as possible should improve the integrity of research. It will certainly enhance its visibility and has been shown in some studies to increase citations. By this token, it follows that the more opportunities for collaboration will result, and if funders or your publishers require open data, you'll certainly be compliant with their conditions. Fair data is findable, accessible, interoperable, and reusable. It's acknowledged that it's not always appropriate to share data, particularly if there are commercial or patient confidentiality issues. However, even if just the existence of a dataset is registered, by reporting its descriptive metadata, it will be findable. If it is suitable for sharing, a dataset can be added to a repository and made accessible. By using non-proprietary software formats, it could be as interoperable as possible, allowing others to manipulate it for their own purposes. Here are some links to policies which allude to open research data. The Russell Group, of which University of Birmingham is a member, has signed the Sorbonne Declaration on Research Data Management and Research Data Rights back in 2020. This acknowledged several principles, including that research data should be openly shared and reused as much as possible, and that the academic community will be empowered to identify the complex conditions for reuse. By recording your dataset and adding a link to it in Pure, the university's research information system, you will be making sure that it's findable. Anything on Pure is indexed by FindIt, the university catalogue, which is then indexed by Google. Open peer review is an emerging practice. If you're interested in finding out more, the short video from Foster gives some useful context. For early career researchers who want to get into the practice of peer review, the Web of Science Academy is a free online training course which gives some useful context and advice. There are other assets you may wish to share more widely under Creative Commons licenses. You may have code to share or policy documents that aren't published in the traditional way that you'd like to make available. You can use platforms such as Zenodo or GitHub to deposit these assets, and a DOI will be minted. Once you've got this DOI link, you can use it to direct others to your work, and alt metrics will be generated to allow you to see how many downloads your work has had. There is information about alt metrics on our internet page under Influential Researcher. The university also offers its own eData and ePapers repository to publish your assets. Having an ORCID helps pull together a lot of the concepts we've looked at in this video. ORCID is your Open Researcher and Contributor ID, and by giving you a 16-digit identifier, it makes you uniquely findable. It also allows you to link yourself to all the assets you've created using their DOIs. You can also link to ORCID from your Pure record to connect your current University of Birmingham activity to everything else you've done. ORCID saves you a huge amount of time rekeying details of your publications. Many systems now integrate with ORCID, as this diagram illustrates. Funders often request ORCIDs at grant application stage. When datasets are added to repositories, they can be linked up with your ORCID. Individual journal publishers often request your ORCID when you submit your manuscript. When papers are published, the bibliographic data is indexed by the big players such as Clarivate and Elsevier, who own Web of Science and Scopus. It's advisable to make sure your author record on these big databases are connected to your ORCID to pull your publication profiles together. Learned societies are also integrating their systems with ORCID. This diagram shows the huge number of emerging open research tools. We hope this gives you a foundation for going on to discover more about what might be useful in your discipline. To find out more about open research, particularly about the support we can offer, join our self-enroll Canvas course. You'll find further reading on many of the topics we've introduced here. On behalf of the Research Skills team, thank you for watching our video, and we'd love to hear from you.